Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
Good morning. Hope all is well with you. We are having a beautiful day here in South Florida. I was out with my dog this morning as we walk every morning, and what a gorgeous day we have that is ahead of us today. Of course, it is South Florida, so the hots are out there. You got to watch out for the hots, but other than that, it looks like it's going to be a really, really phenomenal day today. This morning I have Carolyn. She is with Atlas Trax, and you know what I like to say about Carolyn, if you want to protect what you love to the max, you got to talk to my friend Carolyn over there at Atlas Trax. Good morning, Carolyn.
Well,
hey, breaking up a little bit.
Is this any better?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Sunday.
Yeah, you're kind of in and out. So I think that you told me you're going to be doing some fishing today.
Yeah, well, actually, I put in an order for some live bait around 5:30 this morning, and we'll probably be off the dock right after the radio show.
And what are you looking for?
Snappers and grouper. We're going to be fishing about 60 to 125 feet of water, drifting off the coast of Boca.
Oh, my. And were you able to do any fishing this last week?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we got out on Wednesday, did a little bottom fishing as well. The fellows went out yesterday. They were pretty successful. Flat calm seas yesterday brought back about 3 nice yellowtail snapper and a couple groupers. So we were happy that they got a few fish in the box and were able to take something home. Flat
calm seas. That sounds like what we're going to have today. As I look at all the different things that we do in the morning. First of all, the radar. There is little to nothing happening around the state with regard to radar. We go over to the National Weather Service, and the National Weather Service says today the winds will be out of the southeast to 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be less than 2 feet. Intercoastal waters will have a light chop. That looks like it's going to be a giant puddle out there. The high tides, we have already had one high tide this morning at 3:44. Next high tide, the low tide will be at 10:01. The next high tide will be at 4:23 this afternoon, and then a low tide at 10:30 tonight. So there's your tides. There is nothing happening with regard to the radar around the state. The beaches are open. There are restrictions on the beaches. You have to just be aware that there are some restrictions on the beaches, but the beaches are open. Doesn't seem to be any major warnings about the beaches right now, such as man of war or anything like that. The only thing you do have to be careful of is our beaches do have rocks, so you got to just watch out for the rocks. But other than that, it looks like it's going to be a gorgeous day. Get out there and enjoy it. One of those days that we kind of long for, especially after this shelter-in-place thing for, my gosh, how long that has gone on. So we have an opportunity now to break free. I'm free at last. Oh, my gosh. It has really been a challenging time this last 90 days, but as we get closer and closer now, more things are opening up. I will have Bruce Marx on. He'll be on in a little while. He's going to give us a report about the different boat ramps. From what I understand, there are still boat ramps that are not open, and we'll get a little more information about that as the day goes on, as the show goes on. I'll have Robert on here in a few minutes, and he'll tell us a little bit about what's going on with him. Dean Panos with D&D Charters, I'll have him on shortly. Wanda Stewart, I think Wanda's still out there in the magic land of Louisiana. She'll be on later this morning, and she's going to give us an update about what's going on with her. Mike Lendl, he is with the King of the Glades tournament. He's going to give us an update about what's going on in the freshwater and the backwater and Lake Okeechobee and so on and so on. And then, of course, we finish off with Angelia, the one and only Florida Salty Cowgirl. She's going to give us an update on what's going on down in the Keys, and she told me that she has news. So hopefully the news is good news. So as we go through the show here today, we've got a lot of people ready to come on and share with us. Let's see, we've got, have I got Robert on? I'm looking for Robert here. Okay, Robert will be on in a minute. I wanted to ask you, Carolyn, excuse me, when I wake up in the morning, I don't drink coffee anymore. Ever since I had that operation, the emergency heart surgery, a year ago, March, I haven't needed a coffee. I wake up and I'm awake. It wasn't like I wake up and it's, oh my gosh, I'm in this cloud. I got to drink something to clear this stuff up. So sometimes when I in the morning now that I don't drink coffee, sometimes when I think of something, the thought is like gone. I think of it, and oh, darn, now what was I thinking of? I think part of that is getting older. Welcome to old age, right?
I go to sleep and I wake up with great ideas in the middle of the night. I always think to myself, it's so good, I won't forget it. And then I wake up in the morning and forget it. So I have a little pad and a pen on the side of the bed.
There you
no matter
go.
What, if I'm up, just jot down a quick note. Even if it was like today, order bait, 5:45.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you know, I'm still ever so grateful for the fish that you sent me. That was such a treat. Oh my gosh. Hadn't had fresh fish in, I can't tell you how long. And I have a friend of mine who has offered to take me out here. We're supposed to go out next weekend, next Saturday, depending upon the weather. But we're supposed to go out and do some fishing next Saturday, and hopefully I'll come back with some more fresh fish. It's just nothing. There's nothing like having fresh fish. I'm telling you. You know, you can go to the store and buy it. And, you know, it's different, right? It's different from when if you were to get yellowtail snapper and take it home and cook it versus yellowtail snapper that you bought at the store, take it home and cook it. There's a difference between the two of them, and you can distinctly tell there's a difference between the two of them. The one that you catch is much fresher. It has more color to it. The meat itself has a different kind of, not so much just a better texture, I guess is the best way to describe it. So there's just like, there's no comparison to having fresh fish. Speaking of fresh fish, I think we have a fresh fish on the line with us this morning. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning. Yellowtail happens
Robert.
to be my favorite. Good morning, Carolyn.
What was your favorite, Robert?
I said yellowtail happens to be my favorite food in the ocean, too.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite is mahi-mahi. I don't think that I have ever found a way that I could cook that fish without ruining it. And I'm not going to start. But, I mean, I've had it fried. I've had it baked. I've had it barbecued. Gosh, and every time we cook it, it's great. It is, to me, it is the chicken of the sea. It is tastes like the chicken of the sea. But I would never back away from yellowtail.
Yeah, the mahi fishing's been great everywhere, so all up and down the East Coast. So they are out there for sure.
Do you have any idea what people are using for bait?
For mahi?
Yeah.
Just about anything if you find them. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
They're not the pickiest eaters in the world, that's for sure. So.
Oh, they're ravenous. They're really ravenous. It's amazing. So I know in the old days.
Artificials, just about anything if you run across a school of them. So.
I know in the old days we used to look for weed lines. One of the things are big, anything large that's floating. Go circle that for a while, and typically you'll find them. So did you do any fishing this last week, Robert?
I did not. The rain was just horrible this week. So
we did get a couple of serious downpours, right? Oh my gosh!
It rained for like 3 days straight here. So
yeah, we had flooding.
My lawn looked like the Everglades.
Yeah, I'm out. Go ahead, Carolyn.
I'll tell you a little experience we had. We had 3 dozen pilchards. Robert, you know where I'm going with this in the rain. And we had them. I was feeding them cat food. I was giving them anything I had leftovers for dinner. Woke up the next morning. They were all dead from the rain.
Yeah. Too much fresh water. Yep.
Wow. So you have them like in a net or something, right? A cage or something out in the water?
For us, normally we have our boat on a boat lift, and we certainly want to keep it out of the water as much as we can because of the problem of boat theft. Mm-hmm. So what we did was we transferred from our live well last week into a pen that we borrowed from a neighbor and just kind of floated that at the surface. In the past we've sunk them down to the bottom, but just that rain was unexpected. And, and we finally could get out and check them, and we put the boat in the water, got ready to go. And a couple days ago, and everything was dead. So we just released it all back in to feed the rest of the fish. But that was, $120 investment that was gone.
Wow. And they died from the rain, from all the rain. So that must have been a tremendous amount of fresh water entering into the aviary, to the salt water.
Yes.
It was.
That was probably
It was
6
a
feet
lot.
deep. Yeah, and it was 6 inches of rain a day.
Good gravy. Wow. You see, to me, I don't realize how much is coming down out here, because I've said many times, there's one thing the state is good about, is getting rid of water. I don't know how they do it, but they get rid of. There was a time here in my neighborhood that it had rained so hard, the street had literally flooded. And I've lived in this neighborhood for going on 15 years. This has only happened once. The street literally flooded, but within 24 hours, and when I tell you flooded, you couldn't get a car through it. It was like 3 or 4 feet deep. And within 24 hours, all that water was gone. So there's one thing that they do out here. They get rid of water pretty quick. So I don't realize how much water's coming down, because you don't, out where I'm at anyway, the flooding is pretty well controlled where I'm at. When I say a little flooding from this last time, there's a couple of puddles here and there. It wasn't really any big deal. It wasn't like the time I'm describing to you. That's where we had streets flooded. I mean, literally flooded. Cars could not get through. Within 24 hours, they got rid of all of that water. That's a tremendous amount of water. So out here where I'm at, it seems, I mean, it could come down, cats and dogs for that matter, but their ability out here to get rid of the water, it's kind of misleading. You don't realize how much is coming down.
Yep, I have lived in some places in Florida that flooded pretty well. So.
And one of my most terrifying experiences with rain, believe it or not, was out in San Antonio, Texas, where they have like channels. I don't even know what they call them, where the water comes rushing through. It's absolutely dry, and you have rain, and then the water comes rushing through, and it's like, holy smokes, step back, get away. It was amazing. It really, really did freak me out. We were warned that there were serious thunderstorms in the area at the time, and I can't remember what they call these things. It's like concrete channels where the water runs through. Like we have canals all over the place. They have these concrete things all over the place. And when the water comes through, Lord have mercy, don't be anywhere near that thing, because it'll just wipe you right away with it. I've never seen anything like that. We don't experience that kind of thing here.
And I saw some photos last week, too, of people that had boat lifts that weren't, I guess, securely mounted to their docks, and there was so much water, these boat lifts were literally just falling off the docks and
holy
dunking
smokes,
the boats right in the water. So I saw a couple of situations of that. I mean, if someone has a dead, on a boat lift, you think, oh, the battery's dead, we'll charge it next time, but that's still important for water flow for the bilge system.
Yeah.
So, you just got to keep up on that kind of thing, and always make sure that, you check rains like that are significant for sinkings at docks.
I think every gallon of water is equal to like 7 or 8 pounds. I think it's something like that. And with the amount of rain that was coming down, it's hundreds of gallons at a pop. So it wouldn't be unlikely for the, what do they call those things? The arms that reach out that hold the boats out, whatever those things are. It wouldn't be unlikely for those to fatigue and start bending. You imagine how many gallons of water are sitting inside that boat.
Yeah, that's correct. It's 8.6 pounds per gallon.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Of course, we hear these boats capsizing out offshore the last couple of weeks with some of these storms, like these rainstorms that came up, and you can't push that water out of the boat fast enough. So safety is real important, especially with these thunders and lightning storms that are coming through in typical South Florida.
Yeah. In one moment it's nice and sunny, and the next moment it's the end of the world.
Yeah, it's funny what people will go out in, too, because Alec Ludakis is a friend of mine. He runs a recovery boat, towboat, here locally. And that day that it was pouring rain, he called, I was talking to him on the phone. He goes, I just got a call. I got to go out 20 miles offshore and tow somebody in. I went, who the hell is out in this? He goes, idiots. That's who's out in this, idiots.
Wow. 20 miles offshore. Lord have mercy.
Yep.
Well, the one thing that you want, if you're going to be offshore, one thing I would want anyway, would be the ability to communicate. And if you're so far out that you can't communicate, don't worry, you're not in trouble, because you can get this thing from Carolyn. What's it called? A hotspot, I think it's called. And you can turn your cell phones into satellite phones, basically. So it doesn't matter where you're at. If you got the hotspot, you're 20 miles offshore, you've lost more than likely cell service. So your options are either two-way radio, marine radio, which is heavily subject to the atmospheric conditions, or you get one of these little hotspot things. I love this idea. This little, I don't know how big it is, but it's, how big is a hotspot, Carolyn?
It's 6 inches by 4 inches by an inch tall.
Holy smokes.
It's a real handy device to have. I actually had somebody borrow one from me last week and take it on his airplane from East Coast to Tampa area. So he didn't need to make a couple phone calls. But there were times, when he went up to 20,000 feet, it wouldn't work. But the majority of the time, he was able to still stay in touch with his office, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's outrageous. So, yeah, the thing isn't very big. It allows multiple phones. How many phones? 6 phones? 5 phones?
Yeah, well, actually, they say up to 8. But normally you don't even have 8 people on a boat. But sure, you can log on, you can text, you can make phone calls using your existing phone, which means you don't have to copy down all those phone numbers and take them with you for borrowing somebody else's sat phone. Some people use it for posting social media, like someone like Dean, who's going to be on next, who's runs a big charter business. I mean, it'd be perfect, to post up some of the fish pictures. It has a SOS button on it, so these fellas could have, hit SOS, and 2 family members could have known exactly where they were. Weather reports, you can even get weather reports from it, which is kind of handy.
That's pretty amazing. I love technology like that. That is just that is like the cream of the icing on the cake. Maybe that's a better way to put it. So, Robert, you got plans for fishing today, my friend, or are you going bicycling today?
We're going to head over to the bicycle park here in a little bit, see if we can get in, hopefully.
That was the next question I was going to ask you. If you knew.
50%.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you knew if the park is actually open.
At the park. And probably do some snook fishing tonight because this is the end of it. So.
I saw a video about a guy who.
Until September, you're done after today. So.
I saw a video about a guy who put a light and a camera underneath his dock, and he said he wanted to video the snook, and some amazing video came out of that. It was a pretty. I don't remember what it was called, but it was pretty amazing. The snook, when he would throw a shrimp or 2 in there to agitate them, get them going, and they were so quick that you could barely even see it on the camera. How fast it was, like torpedoes coming up out of the water and nailing the shrimp. But he pointed out how fast these guys would hit. It was just amazing, really was, to watch it go down. Well, I wanted to ask you about the magazine as well. What is the latest going on with the Florida Fisherman magazine?
New issue is out. Came out last week sometime, and came out really well, actually. I had no idea how many people would send in pictures. For the Reader's Feature section, I worked on that for several days just because people sent in over 300 pictures for the Reader's Feature section. So can't put them all in there, but tried. We got a bunch in there.
Wow. Now, Florida Fisherman Magazine is a subscriber-supported magazine. That means that if you have a story or a picture or something that you want to submit to Robert, if it falls along his guidelines, believe it or not, he'll put it in the magazine for you. Now, if you want to do that, Robert's going to tell you, how do you do that, Robert? If they have something they want to send in.
If they have something they want to send, you can just send it to pages@flfishmag.com, and you can find the magazine at www.flfishmag.com. And we welcome stories, pictures, videos, whatever you got. Had some very interesting people contact me last week, and if you look in the magazine, you'll see their stuff. It's called Shark Tech, and it's chum that removes sharks from your chum line.
What? Huh?
Yep. They have.
Wait a minute.
You put it in with your chum bag, and it will not scare the other fish away. It's even been tested. I actually talked to the captains that tested it. They said it actually worked. They were shocked that it worked and didn't scare the other fish away or whatever. He said, I don't know what's in it.
That's crazy.
The sharks stay away, but the other fish don't. So
I've never heard of anything like that. So you put this in your chum bag, and it keeps the sharks away?
It's a separate chum bag. It's a separate chum piece. When you put your chum bag in, tie this thing on, comes in a little brick.
Uh-huh.
You just tie it down at the same spot, and the sharks won't come around, but the other fish do. It's odd.
Wow.
They found
Does
a
it
way
actually
to just keep the sharks off.
Does it actually dissolve, Robert? Or is it stay
Yes,
solid,
it does.
or is it something that dissolves?
No, it dissolves.
Wow.
I've never heard of anything like that. That's amazing. Wow. So
Well,
this...
there's a story about the people that developed it and the captains that tested it in the magazine. It's, I think the article's called Fish Tax Free. And check it out.
That's amazing. I've never heard of anything like that. I know there were a couple of times down there in the Keys where we were... I wonder how it does with barracuda, because not so much the sharks there. A couple of times, but not really.
It does not work with anything other than sharks.
Yeah. The problem we had was stupid barracuda. They weren't stupid, really. They were pretty smart. They follow the boat my gosh, they would follow the boat. We thought we got rid of them, and no. You get one or two fish up, and then...
Get out further offshore, you have the same problem with sharks. So it's an understandable problem, and if it works, I think that's great.
Yeah, that's amazing. That really is. So that's going to be in the Florida Fisherman magazine. You can find out more information at www.ff. All right, it's morning. Go ahead, Robert.
It's www.flfishmag.com. Check it out. There's some great stuff in there.
I knew that. I just wanted to know if you knew that.
And the magazine is completely COVID-free. You don't have to touch any dirty pages or anything.
There you go. Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you, Robert. I greatly appreciate you calling in, taking time to share with us this morning. I wish you an awesome day, my friend. God bless you.
You too. You guys have a great day.
All right, Carolyn, go ahead.
Tight lines. Good luck fishing tonight.
All right, my friends, you're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with Riscala and Carolyn this morning. That was Robert. He is with the Fishing in let's try that. My gosh, he's with the Florida Fisherman magazine. I'm losing my mind. We're gonna take a break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Riscala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers. But that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Put them out here for a little bit.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped. Even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion. Air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road. You will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclub.com. That's www.susanclubb.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Club. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
Want to give your pet the celebrity treatment? Have you heard of Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care in Royal Palm Beach? They're located just off State Road 7 and have been servicing the area for 14 years. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care is the home of the Blueberry Facial, also specializing in tartar removal with 8 years of assisting in dental procedures. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care? They're more than just about dogs. They are the only experienced cat groomer in the area. They also cater to all breeds and sizes and open 6 days a week. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care, located just north of the Super Walmart in Royal Palm Beach. You can find them at 250 Business Parkway. They specialize in shampoos with no extra charge. Flea and tick dips also available. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. You can give them a call at 561-793-9992. They also provide gift certificates for those looking for that special present. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. 561-793-9992. They're located in Royal Palm Beach. That number, 561-793-9992. Call for your appointment today.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We have ignition. Strap in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, good morning. We are back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. I am your host, Riscala. This morning I have Carolyn with Atlas Trax with me. And one thing that I like to say about Carolyn is if you want to protect what you love to the max, you got to talk to my friend over at, oh, I'm having such a hard time this morning. I don't know what's going on. My mind is working, but my mouth, the mouth is not following what the mind is saying. Anyway, welcome back, Carolyn.
Good morning again, Riscala. I know exactly what you mean on an early Sunday morning.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, only because it's live. Oh, Jiminy. Anyway, my next guest is Dean Panos. He's with D&D Charters. He's going to give us an update about what's going on out there. Welcome, Dean.
Yes. Hello. How are you? Yeah, this is Dean Panos from Double D Charters. Yes, sir.
How are you doing, my friend?
Dean, it's
Good.
Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
We're actually on the water. We're just starting our trip right now. We're putting our baits out as we speak, and let's see what's going to bite. It's been a pretty good week of fishing. There's been quite a few blackfin tunas around, quite a few sailfish, some kingfish, and just a few mahis. The mahis have been still being caught on the edge. A lot of the guys going out into the Gulf Stream aren't really finding any. So we're a little bit late on that, but the other fishing is actually really, really good. Spring fishing in Miami is about as good as it gets, and we're right in the middle of it.
And where are you fishing off of this morning?
Right now, we're straight out of Government Cut. We have greenish water, but we do have a knot of north current, which current usually out-trumps the condition of the water. So at least we got good current, so we're just waiting to see what's going to happen. If not, we're going to venture on to somewhere else. So
I take it, are you drifting? Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah, right now we are drifting sideways. We got flat lines out. We're about to put a balloon out on a kite, a helium balloon on a kite, because there's quite not enough wind for the kite. And
the sea conditions that you're experiencing?
It's pretty calm. It's like one foot or so.
Oh my gosh, that's
like
what Carolyn was telling me. Carolyn was
Yeah.
saying it was so smooth
Actually,
that you.
Actually, the fishing's usually better when it's a little bit rougher anyway, but that's besides.
Wow. Do you see anything floating around out there? Any weed lines? Any?
No, that's usually when you're going offshore in the Gulf Stream for mahis. We're staying what they call fishing on the edge, which is usually about 200 foot to 100, and that's where all the action's been and has been for the last month or so. This is where you're going to catch your sailfish. This is where you're going to catch your tunas and your kings. Once you start venturing offshore for weed lines, you're looking really basically for one species, and that's mahis.
When you're calling the edge, is that where it drops off real quick?
Yes, yes. That's where the drop off is from 100 to 200 feet of water, and usually what you want to see is you want to see that north current, but you also want to see the bay water meet the offshore water, which right now we're not really seeing that specific edge. But still, as long as there's current, you're in a good spot to fish.
What are you dropping for bait?
We are fishing live herring on our top lines. We have a pilchard on a deep line, and like I said, we're about to put up the kite with goggle eyes and herring on the top.
Wow!
We mostly fish the top layer of the water and a little bit of the mid. Sometimes we'll put a bait down on the bottom for like a mutton snap or so, but we're mostly interested in the pelagics.
Carolyn, you got a question?
A charter group with you today, Dean.
I have a dad and his two sons.
Oh,
how
that's
cool!
Great. And I see you have some kind of swordfish camp coming up.
I do. It's good that you mentioned that. We are starting to do. Hopefully, we'll do a couple of swordfish camps. They're going to be 3-day camps. They're open to adults, children, whatever. But usually, the adults are the ones that are more interested in sword fishing. Sword fishing's kind of an intricate thing to do. You know, it takes a little bit of technique, takes quite a bit of tackle, and a lot of people go out there and don't get one, and they get frustrated. So we're figuring we're going to show people how to do it. We've been doing it for daytime sword fishing over 10 years, and supposedly we're pretty good at it, I think. But it is a camp that we can show people everything from the intricate details of how to make a wind-on leader, on how to set your baits, how to rig your baits, what to do when you have a swordfish on, how to gaff them, how to harpoon them, how to clean them afterwards. So it's going to be pretty much all-inclusive, showing you everything that we know. I think it's going to be a pretty fun thing to do.
So we'll have a new name for him now. He will be known as the Swordfish Whisperer.
Hopefully. But hopefully this camp will take off. And anyone interested can definitely give me a shout, or give Carolyn a shout, and she'll know how to get in touch with me.
You were one of the first that started the daytime sword fishing, weren't you? When people said you couldn't do it?
We were actually the very first boat in Miami to catch one during the day. We've been night fishing prior to that for 10-plus years, but we were the actual very first boat in Miami to catch one in the daytime. We've logged probably close to, I don't want to brag, but probably close to about 10,000 swordfish already.
Holy smokes. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I've only had one experience sword fishing. Was at night many years ago down in the Keys, and we took a mullet. I think it was a mullet. I'm almost sure it was a mullet. It was a pretty big fish. And we gutted it, and they put a glow stick inside of this thing.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like, oh my God. And we got one hit, but we never pulled anything up. And I was surprised that it was really weird to see this thing go down in the water and it's glowing.
Yeah. They got big eyes, and that glow stick's going to attract them. We always use lights on everything, even in the daytime.
Really?
We drop a single bait down to 16 to 2,000 feet of water on the bottom, and we actually do have lights on our line. So
holy smokes!
Hopefully, let the swordfish see the light, and then he'll see your bait, and he'll eat your bait, and then game on.
2,000 feet?
Yeah, all the way to the bottom. Yes, sir.
So how far out are you when you're doing this?
About 20 miles.
I don't remember us being that deep. I don't know, maybe we were. It was quite a while ago.
At nighttime, you usually fish between 1,200 and 1,600.
So I'm trying to envision this in my mind. You've got roughly 2,000 feet of line out there. Are you got on an electric reel, or this is all manual?
We have a number of different reels. We have one reel called a hooker electric, which is both electric and manual. So if you don't get a bite, you can reel up that heavy weight, because you use 10 pounds of lead to get to the bottom. You can use the electric portion to get up, and if you do get a bite, you can crank it by hand, or you can use the electric, whatever you like. We also have a Lindgren Pittman reel, which is strictly electric. And for the real hardcore guys, we go with our standard conventional reel with nothing on it, and you got to crank it up.
And do people go for that?
Some do, yeah.
Wow.
Especially guys that are looking for their last billfish of the IGFA slam, which is blue marlin, black marlin, sailfish, white marlin, spearfish, etc. Usually the hardest one to get is a swordfish, and they want to do it IGFA legal, which does not allow electric reels, so they crank them up.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What on a conventional reel, Dean, for a big fish? How many hours?
It's surprising because the really big fish, they can actually swim that lead up. So they feel the tension of the line going down initially, and they want to fight against it. So they actually swim the lead all the way to the surface. So it's basically just cranking in slack line until the fish feels the thermocline of the sunlight and about 500 feet down, and then it'll start fighting you. But on typically you're not looking at more than an hour and a half, 2-hour fight. Once in a while you'll get this stubborn fish that might, we've never fought a fish in the daytime for more than 4.5 hours.
That's a long time.
And that one wasn't really even that big. Usually the little ones are not strong enough to lift the lead, so they'll fight you the whole way up. And then, but you can tell the difference between a big fish and a small fish as soon as you hook them up. So,
Dean, what do you consider as a small fish? How many?
Small fish would be like 150 pounds or less.
Wow.
Usually the game totally changes once you run into a swordfish over 300 pounds. That really changes. It becomes a much different fight. They're basically doing whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it.
Is there a limit on swordfish?
There is. It's a 1 per person, 4 max. For charter boats, it's 1 per paying customer, 4 max. But if you were to go out on a recreational boat and had 3 guys, you can get 3 fish. If you had 4 guys, you can get 4 fish.
So, in your opinion, what would be a large fish?
A large fish is really anything over 100 pounds or 150 pounds is a decent fish. A large fish would be 300 pounds plus.
Have you had the opportunity to bring up some of these big boys?
Our biggest is 605, and
Holy smokes.
We've gotten 11 over 500.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been doing it a long time. I mean, we've been doing it a very long time.
Big for a daytime or nighttime? Which is your favorite?
The action is more consistent during the day because the fish are compressed on the bottom 200-300 feet of the water column, so that's why it makes it easier to target them. But I think the pure fight of the fish itself is much more fun at night because there is no 10 pounds of lead. You only got like a pound or a pound and a half of lead on there, and the fish really do fight and do whatever they want at night. But the fishing is not as good as night because now the fish are spread out from the bottom all the way to the top, and it's much more harder to target them. So, if the fight itself, nighttime is definitely better, but their chances of catching one, daytime is better.
Wow. And then let's go back to your camp real quick. So your 3 days of camp, how do you lay out the camp? Is this your first year of doing this?
Yes, this is going to be our first year of camp. Right now we're just sort of putting feelers out and seeing who's interested. We got a couple of inquiries. We're going to need 4 people to fill up each section of the camp. And like I said, the camp will be 3 days. We'll start at the dock with some lecturing and, some basic instruction on how to attach the wind on and how to do certain things that we're at the dock. And then once we start the fishing portion, we'll show them how, where we're fishing, why we're fishing there, how to deploy the bait, how to maintain the boat, on position. What do you do when you get a bite? What do you do when you miss a bite? And just try to teach them everything that we've learned over the 20-something years of doing this.
Awesome. And that's this next one is over the one that you're planning is a 3-day period?
It's a 3-day camp, yes. You really can't do, in one day you can show them the basics, but in order to fine-tune and show them every aspect of it, you probably need 3 days.
Wow. And if people want to get involved with that, how do they do that?
They can give me a shout. My number is 954-805-8231. They can go to my website, which is doubledcharters.com, or they can go to my Instagram again, which is doubledcharters.com, and contact me, DM me from there. There's a number of different ways.
It sounds very interesting. I only had one experience sword fishing. It was at night. So like I explained to you, they put a glow stick in a fish, which I thought was really bizarre. We had one bite, but we never really did bring anything up. It was I enjoy night fishing more than day fishing because of, especially on nights like what you're experiencing out there today, where it's just almost like a puddle. I love that at night on a full moon. Oh my gosh!
It's great. It's great. I mean, it's nighttime. You don't get the summer heat.
Right.
As long as you don't have any thunderstorms around, which they're usually gone by 7 o'clock anyway.
Yeah.
And usually night fishing is a great way to spend the night in South Florida, especially in the summertime. It's awesome actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to call in and share with us. Tight lines for you today, my friend. God bless you. I'm going to let Carolyn say goodbye to you, and then we're going to go off to a break.
All right. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Dean. Tight lines out there, and I'll get in touch with you this week. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, Carolyn. Yep. Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Scholar Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road, you will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclub.com. That's www.susanclubb.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Clubb. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions, don't text and drive.
Have you ever heard of Audible? Audible is a website with hundreds of thousands of audiobooks. They're all high quality, easy to listen to, and best of all, if you take advantage of a special deal that we've worked out for you, you can get one for free. That's right, a free audiobook of your choice in any genre, simply by going to audibletrial.com/openeyes and signing up for the free trial. It's simple to do, and it would support the shows that we bring to you, and hey, you get a free book out of the whole thing. So why not take advantage of it today? Go to audibletrial.com/openeyes and sign up for the trial.
Being a dad is an adventure full of special moments. A cruise!
Right!
Unexpected moments.
I got this.
And even awkward moments.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
But every moment you spend with your kids, even the smallest moments, can make the biggest impact on your child's life. So take a moment to be a dad today.
While other stations just talk a good game, we win it.
Hey, sounds like somebody's having a lot of fun. I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, we are back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. Good morning to you. If you're just joining us, we will have archives set up. I have got to admit, I'm behind on setting the archives up, but we will have them up eventually. Had a little bit of a problem with the program that we use, but I think I've got it all straightened out now that I can get it all working again. In the meantime, I want to say a big thank you to our home network, WCET 101.7 out of Columbia Talk. www.wcetfm.com. You can find us there. Also, HighPoint Radio. HighPoint Radio, 1690 AM out of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. They carry our show. Thank you, John. KYAH, 540 AM, Utah's Talk Authority. They carry our show from time to time. And our latest is Marina Rock Radio. And Marina is Yacht Rock's sister station. Yacht Rock is out of Miami, and they happen to be a tune-in station. So that's one of the other ways that you can find us. If you go to the TuneIn app and you tune in Marina Rock Radio, you'll find us there as well. The app is done. Finally, the app is done. The app will be up in the stores here, I think, by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. We will have an app that you can go to the store, which is a free download. The difference with this app is that it's strictly an application to listen to the network. Whatever shows are playing on the network, you'll be able to get on the app. We don't have commercials. We don't have push notifications. We don't have spyware. We don't have. I spent time with the developer and said, I do not want any of this stuff. I don't like it when I download something and it's really nothing more than a piece of spy equipment that watches me wherever I go on the web and then wants to sell me whatever I look at. Ours has nothing like that. It's strictly, it's almost like a radio, like you have a radio, but it's just tuned into one station. So you'll be able to download it. It's free to download. It uses minimal resources on your phone. I thought about a lot of things when I asked them to do this for us. It's really very light, if you will, with regards to the resources that it's going to take on your phone. Very easy to use, simple. Just click once and you're playing, and click again and you're not playing. It's pretty straightforward. And it will be up in the stores. I think it's going to be under WCET FM, which is our home network. We're still trying to figure out how to get everybody to find it real easy, and that's what we'll be working on over this weekend. But I think by Wednesday we will have the app out, and that will be the easiest of all the ways that you can listen to us. In the meantime, you can also go to our Facebook page, and if you would, please give us a like while you're there. Go to our Facebook page, and you can click on Contact Us. That's another way you can listen to us. We have a phone line that you can call in, although hardly anybody ever uses it. But if you have unlimited calling, we have a phone line. You can actually call in and listen. Now, you won't be calling into the board. You won't be on the air, but you will be listening to the show. And that's 701-719-9704. You can do that as well. Again, I'm trying to make it as easy as we can for people to listen to the show, because I'm ever so grateful for all of the people out there that call in and contribute to the show. We have an amazing community of people, and the more people I meet, the more I'm just humbled by these people that are out there that will do amazing things for other people. It's just a phenomenal community, the fishing community here in South Florida. In the meantime, let me welcome back my co-host. That's Carolyn. She's with Atlas Trax. Welcome back, Miss Carolyn.
Good morning again, Riscala. It's gorgeous. I'm looking out the window here, and there's not any wind filling any of these flags outside.
I'm telling you, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And my next guest is Bruce Marx, and Bruce is one of those individuals that I speak of in the fishing community, above and beyond. If we had more people like Bruce, life would certainly be a lot different. I'll tell you what, and it would be different in a manner that would be better, kind of different. Anyway, welcome. Good morning, Bruce. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it, my friend.
Riscala, good morning to you, and hello, Carolyn. How are you doing?
Good. Happy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, from what I understand, Bruce, one of the first things I wanted to talk about was the boat ramps. Some are open, some are not open, or are they all closed?
Riscala, at this point, I think most of them are open. I think the city of Miami has still not allowed the opening of their ramps, which frankly I don't quite understand. I know this COVID thing has people differ on their opinion.
Yeah, we're losing you. Can you hear him, Carolyn? I'm losing everybody. I don't know if that's me or you guys, but I'm losing both of you now.
For you, Riscala.
Yeah, you're fading in and out. Can you hear him, Carolyn? Yeah, I'm losing to both of you. And we're losing bandwidth somewhere because I can hear him barely in the background, but it's not distinguishable, and I don't think he can hear us.
Right.
We may have to do a reset. Yeah.
He's muffled.
Yeah, I don't know if it's his cell phone or.
Can you hear me clearly?
Then you're breaking up as well. When you first start talking, you begin to fade out, and I don't think he can hear us. I think it may be his cell phone.
Right, and I could tell you he was saying how Miami ramps he didn't think were open.
Yeah, he was saying some of them. No, Miami ramps were not open, which I don't understand either. I can't figure that out. And most of the other ramps are open. Now I'm not sure if it's because of his cell phone that he's fading out so bad. I'm gonna see if I can try him one more time. Let's see if I can get him back in here. Bruce. Yeah. He's poor.
I could instant message him to call back in.
Yeah. Let's if you would instant message him, ask him to call back in. I'm going to disconnect him. And
perfect. I'll do that right.
Okay.
I'll do that right now. See if we get back on. He's a wealth of information. So
yeah.
we want to make sure we.
Yeah.
We do that.
I want to do that. Thank you. I appreciate you guys hanging on with us here. This is live radio. This is what happens in live radio. Sometimes we have technical issues. Well, I'm speaking about the technical. Oh my gosh! I think what I feel like. This is what I feel like today.
They're coming to take me away, haha. They're coming to take.
Oh my goodness. That's how I feel this morning. They're going to come take me away. I'm just losing it. Speaking of technical issues, we had technical issues last week, and I figured out what we did wrong. When we transmit on Sunday mornings, we actually transmit to several different servers. So we're on several different servers to be able to serve different areas. One of them is in Miami, one of them is in North Carolina, one of them is in New York, and somehow, between trying to connect to all of them, we were connecting and disconnecting, and I think it was an issue really with the provider, the ISP provider, our Crimecast, because they sent me an email and said there's an issue in your area, and I think that was adding to the problem. So that was a technical issue last week. This week, hopefully we've got Bruce back. Bruce, are you there?
I'm here.
Hot dog. Whatever you said right after the ramps in Miami are closed, I can't understand why. Everything after that was gone. You faded out, and I couldn't get you back.
Oh, boy. I think I gave you my best soundbite, and I'll never going to remember it because I'm only under half a cup of coffee. But the city of Miami ramps remain closed for reasons which are really foreign to me at this point. Most of the Dade County ramps are open, albeit under a restricted use. They've got a one boat on ramp at a time rule for each particular available ramp, and that in turn is causing a delay, causing boats to line up all the way to the access points to where they need to get in. And so I'm hopeful, and those boat owners are hopeful that eventually they open this valve a little more and just say, hey, wear a mask, let everybody in, do the same orderly process that's been going on for 20 plus years, and let people access the water without all of this difficulty.
Yeah. It would certainly make life a lot easier for a lot of people. I know it's difficult enough when they don't have these restrictions in place when you're at a boat ramp. There's always one or two of them that are just not considerate of everybody else. So it's difficult when there's not the restrictions in place. I can't imagine the testing of the patients as you're sitting there waiting for one boat at a time. Oh my gosh.
Well, I'll tell you this. I started using Matheson Boat Ramp back in 1978 with my little Boston Whaler 15-foot Super Sport. And that was during a time when the amount of boats in Miami-Dade County were substantially less than they are now. So there's a real big competition to get people over to the ramps and in the water. And what this whole thing has shown is that they really do. And while I'm really anti-development, I don't like to see what's gone on in my city over the years because I think they've overbuilt it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the shoreline that exists in between the available ramps is all mangrove. But they really need to do something to either enhance the current facilities or maybe add one somewhere to take some of the pressure off of what's going on. And that's what these closures have shown, that we need bigger and better facilities because the amount of boat owners has increased over the last 20 plus years.
Yeah. Yep. And the facilities have not anywhere, not in the same rate as the amount of people have and the amount of boats have. And without, like I said, this is going back years ago. I remember way back then we would have issues. I really disliked going out on the weekend. I would do my best not to go out on the weekend because I get really irritated with some of the people at the boat ramps. They would just take advantage of the situation. They would do things like their boat wouldn't start right up, so they just sit at the boat ramp working on the boat. It's not the place to do that, I don't know if they still do that kind of thing. But
or wait for people to bring the ice.
Yeah.
And the food that they're going
just
out
silly
with,
thing. Just
sure.
so I could imagine, and that was the days when you could get 2 or 3 or 4 boats down a boat ramp, having one at a time. Lord have mercy. Well, we'll have to work on that. And one of the key people here in South Florida, Southeast Florida, to be a little more accurate, is Bruce. Bruce was one of those people who could have accepted life and been a victim and said, well, I'm a victim and somebody came out and took my equipment from me, thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And I'm a victim and that's just the way things go and I'm just going to go on with my life. But Bruce is one of the people that said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to turn around and bite these people right where it counts. I'm going to be an activist. And that's what he did. And as a result of Bruce's ability to bring to light what is going on, and particularly in the electronic equipment for garments and things of that nature for these vessels. I never knew there was such a black market for these things until I met Bruce. These things cost thousands of dollars, and people are literally tearing them out of vessels at any given time and then putting them out on the black market. And what Bruce did is Bruce almost brought that to a halt, if you can imagine that. Almost brought that to a halt. How did you do that, Bruce?
Well, you know what? It's one of those things where once you become a victim, you figure out, after you're outraged and irritated and all of that, you try to figure out what happened and how you're going to prevent it again. And I must admit, when I bought my my GPS, I was completely naive as to how bad the theft situation was down here. Basically, my GPS was up on the dock dangling like a pilchard in front of a sailfish. I had no idea that some guy would have the stones to come in one night, dock on our boat, get onto our dock, get onto my boat, go in there and take out my GPS. And one of the things that I didn't have is a theft deterrent, the stuff that Carolyn does. I didn't have a boat alarm, which probably would have assisted in either alerting me or deterring this guy. And again, that's because of my own naivete, not having any clue about how bad things were. But once that happened to me, and after I got over the irritation, I started thinking about some simple concepts, and one of which was to contact Garmin and ask them directly some questions about why is it that the GPS doesn't have a passcode that's required in order to start up the machine, like our iPhones, and why doesn't it have tracking ability like our iPhones? And I started pushing Garmin, asking them questions and pushing them for answers. And in the process, a lot of people got involved to help. I started that Facebook page, Marine Electronics Industry Stop the GPS Thefts, and started putting up there on social media this concept about let's see if we can make a change to an industry. And there's always those folks who are going to say no and swim upstream and call you nuts, and that's fine. But I was pretty firm in my conviction that I was going to at least pepper these people with emails and pepper that page with posts, and we reach out to people like Carolyn. And I give Carolyn a lot of credit, because Carolyn's she's in the business of providing security protection to boats. And the thing that I was advocating was something to make an electronics manufacturer build in its own security that could possibly make Carolyn's product not as high a demand if that were to come through. And Carolyn gave me a letter. She helped me. She would speak with me. We would talk about the technical issues, because I have no idea how any of this stuff works. And Carolyn was a big advocate in helping me push the buttons of Garmin, as were many other people who provided their letters and emails and support. And we put them up on that page, and before you know it, Furuno was the first one to take action. And Furuno actually announced at the last boat show in February that they were coming out with a software update. I can't remember which models it applies to that exist. And then the other future models, which requires, I think the Furuno is a 4-digit passcode that you've got to enter your unit before it will turn on. And so after a year and a half of posting and advocating on that Facebook page, Furuno was the first MFD manufacturer to step up. And then not to be outshined, I spoke with Garmin at the boat show, and they said, listen, we've got something that's going to be coming out. It's going to be coming out at the beginning of our second quarter. And earlier this month, in the beginning of May, Garmin announced that it's doing a software update, and it's now got a six-number PIN code that can be downloaded through the software on certain models, to where now anyone with a Garmin could type in a 6-digit number before the unit can be activated. So while it took a lot of posts, a lot of emails, and a lot of harassment, I got to give Furuno credit. I got to give Garmin credit. They stepped up, and they did something that may not have been in their best economic interest, because that was one of the arguments.
Yeah.
Why, people were telling me, why would they want to do anything? Because all they're doing is perhaps
they're cutting off their sales.
Future sales.
Yeah, they're cutting off their sales. But this also comes as responsibility of a manufacturer as well. I was in the manufacturing industry for a brief period of time, and the product that we manufactured, we were 100% responsible for that product. We made sure that product, it happened to be plastic, and we made sure that the people who used it knew how to properly dispose of it. This is years ago, before they had all the stuff that they have in place today. So I believe that if you're a manufacturer, with that ability to manufacture, there's a responsibility to those who are going to use your product. And when you have a product that tells people where you are, anywhere on the face of the planet, for God's sake, and then you tell people, well, there's nothing we can do about adding any more safety or security to this, because this is what happened initially. That's why I said, if we had more people like Bruce, oh my gosh, we wouldn't be going through a lot of the stuff that we go through. Instead of being a victim, he stepped up and said, no, I'm not going to take this. We're going to do something about this. And what was it, Bruce, a year? Did you say it was a year and a half?
It was 2 years ago when I got when I had the Garmin stolen, and then I opened up that Facebook page a few months later. So it's like a year and a half to 2 years of activity, and I found interesting. And I'm not one of these, see, I told you so. But for some reason, this became a passionate issue with some, and I had a lot of people trolling the page and telling me I'm out of my mind. You're not going to get anywhere. And I've always been one of these people that appreciates you're not getting anywhere if you don't try. And if you try and you don't get anywhere, you're not any worse off than not trying.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You got to swing for the fences. You may get some wood on the ball, and if you don't get to the fences, at least you get a base hit. You got to try.
Yeah.
You can't just assume that your efforts are going to go without result. And so all those people at the beginning, I had to go back and scroll through the original post that went up on the page. All those people left. They deleted their comments. They left the page because I found it interesting. There was not many, but a few that were saying this is just a stupid idea. They're not going to do it. You're wasting your time. And I was like, it's my time to waste. And if it's wasted, it's wasted. But at least I tried.
And it wasn't. It wasn't wasted. It was well invested. And as a result, we're seeing some serious changes. My whole argument with them, having the background that I have an electronics background. I'm currently in the electronics industry. I service electronic equipment. So I have a degree of understanding. I've been doing it for 25 years. I have a degree of understanding of circuits and things of that nature. And my argument with them was, this was very simple to do. This is just a matter of you don't want to do it. That was my argument. And when someone like Bruce came along and kept nudging and pushing and getting hold of different people and really waking people up, I had no idea. I had no idea that not only was the equipment stolen on a heavy basis, the vessels themselves, the boats themselves were being stolen as well. It was a rude awakening for me. And there are people, and I'm one of them. I had a car at one time that everybody wanted my car. I don't know why. The thing got stolen 3 times in 1 year. I finally just gave up and got rid of the car. But if I had the mentality, the character that Bruce has, I would have said, no, I'm not going to keep my car. I'm going to figure out a way to keep my car. and no matter what these people do, I'm going to keep my car. I'm not going to let them get the best of me. That's what we need more of, that kind of a character today, because we are literally fighting for everything that we have anymore. This idea of the boat ramps were closed for so long. This is another argument of mine, it's a personal opinion, but I believe that if you're out there in the sunlight and you're out there with all the air around you, I think it would be rather difficult to transmit a virus from one person to another, unless you cough on them or something like that. But other than that, I mean, it's not like God forbid, somebody's sick and you're out there at the boat ramp. If they're in their car, backing the car down and putting the boat in the water, how does that endanger you? It just doesn't make sense to me. So this is something else that Bruce has helped assist in here in South Florida. He started a page on Facebook and about the boat ramps opening up here in South Florida. That's why I wanted to have him on this morning, kind of give us an update. But it doesn't stop there. He's also helped build a reef out here, a recovering reef that was almost destroyed. He had hands in that. I just can't give enough accolades to this man. I'm ever so grateful for you, because what you do, not only does everybody benefit, I benefit too, because I'm part of everybody. So it's kind of a selfish thing in a way. But I really do. I'm grateful for people like you who step up to the plate repeatedly and make things better for everybody. I appreciate that. Thank you for taking time this morning. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to keep Bruce on for the next slot because I got a couple of other things I want to talk to Bruce about. I want him to bring out to light as well. And anyway, so don't go away. Let me take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Scala Stevens. Don't go
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road, you will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclub.com. That's www.susanclubb.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Club. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no. Answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions. Don't text and drive.
Have you ever heard of Audible? Audible is a website with hundreds of thousands of audiobooks. They're all high quality, easy to listen to, and best of all, if you take advantage of a special deal that we've worked out for you, you can get one for free. That's right, a free audiobook of your choice in any genre, simply by going to audibletrial.com/openeyes and signing up for the free trial. It's simple to do, and it would support the shows that we bring to you, and hey, you get a free book out of the whole thing. So why not take advantage of it today? Go to audibletrial.com/openeyes and sign up for the trial.
Being a dad is an adventure full of special moments. A cruise?
Right!
Unexpected moments.
I got this.
And even awkward moments.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
But every moment you spend with your kids, even the smallest moments, can make the biggest impact on your child's life. So take a moment to be a dad today.
While other stations just talk a good game, we win it.
Hey, sounds like somebody's having a lot of fun. I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. It just caught me a grouper. So I'm fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah. Fishing and blowing on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, we are back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. Good morning to you if you're just joining us. This morning I have Carolyn with Atlas Trax. If you want to protect what you love to the max, you got to talk to my friend Carolyn over there at Atlas Trax. Welcome back, Miss Carolyn.
Riscala, happy to be here today.
I don't know what's happening. I think we're losing. I think it's something on my end. I'll have to talk to my ISP because you're fading. When you first talk, I miss the first maybe one or two words, and then you come right in real loud. So I'll have to figure what's going on. That just kind of started as Bruce came on. And speaking of Bruce, I have Bruce Marx on with me as well. And Bruce is one of those activists who has made a real positive change for us here in South Florida. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, Bruce, is an update on the, what is it called, the shoal reef?
Yeah, the Bug Light Artificial Reef, Bug Light Shoal Artificial Reef Project.
And what's the latest on that?
I can tell you this. The latest is that yesterday I went out fishing yesterday afternoon, stopped by the reef, threw in a chum bag, and immediately was engulfed with a bunch of cigar minnows and pinfish and ballyhoo, and spent about 20 minutes getting some fresh baits, and then went out and did what Dean's doing this morning. Ended up jumping off a sail, got a huge bull shark on him, got some bonita, got a big cuda, and had a good time. And that, you know, I'm a very avid and passionate fisherman and have been so for years, and have had the opportunity to bait fish at the various bait fishing spots around here. And one of those spots was the Bug Light. And Bug Light for years, which was located southeast of Key Biscayne Lighthouse, was the structure where everybody would go to get their bait. There's other spots too, but Bug Light was one of the big spots. And a few years back, out of nowhere, the Coast Guard tore Bug Light down. And we didn't know why, but later learned it was due to some sort of project where they were divesting themselves of assets that they didn't want to maintain anymore. So the next thing that was on the list was the bent range marker, which is over there by Government Cut. That's another source of bait, herring mainly, but finfish and other bait. That was slated to come out in connection with the deep dredge project at the port, and they were doing a new range marker project. And so that's kind of where the
Uh-oh. That happened again. Carolyn, can you hear him?
He's muffled now.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I can't figure that out. And I don't think he can hear us. Once it does that, whatever occurs, I don't think he can hear us. Let me see if I can.
Again,
Let me try something. I'm going to try muting him because when I click the mute, it tells him that he's been muted. Let me see if it'll. Oh, yeah. So he's not even getting the signal. All right. Hopefully he'll call back because I don't know what that is. And I noticed it this morning when I was speaking with you. I lose the first word or so. You kind of fade out, and then you come right back in. It's almost like when a cell phone is out of range. Did I lose you too?
No, I'm here. I'm here. Actually, I texted him real quick, and he was talking about the bent range marker that's down in Miami, and
yeah.
I guess that he spent a lot of time in getting that saved.
That's from just about when we lost him, when he was talking about the bent range. But here's the Bug Light, the reef there. He was very instrumental, and what he did is he organized. He found people that had. I don't know if you would call it. They had construction like concrete, different rocks and pieces of huge concrete that would probably end up being ground down and maybe reused or something. Bruce found a way to get people to work together and make a reef out of that. Let's see. Are you back, Bruce? I don't know what's happening. Are you there, Bruce?
You there?
Okay, I can hear you. I can hear him now. Go ahead, Bruce.
I got knocked off again. I can promise it's not my end because I got a full signal on my phone.
Yeah, no, I think it's something's happening on the board here. We're losing bandwidth or something. I'll have to figure out what's happening after the show.
Okay, I'm not sure where I got cut off last.
You were just talking about the bent range and how you were working on that.
Gotcha. Okay, so the bent range. We ended up getting around $140,000 in donations from the fishing community that was necessary to buy out that aspect of the project, and when they were doing the new range marker system in the cut. So that was like a $1.something million project, and the contractor took a reduced sum for that part of the contract. We basically had to pay the contractor money not to carry out its work scope in the removal of the bent range marker. In the process, we had a residual amount of money in the account of around $50,000. So then once the bent range marker was saved, the next goal was to try and put an artificial reef to replace that which was lost with the Bug Light marker that was taken down. The Biscayne National Park refused to allow us to put any material within the park because it was against their mantra. As much as we tried, we wanted to get stuff back in that location because it was so good. It was because of the current and the finger channels on the eastern side of it. There was so much bait around that structure, but they wouldn't allow us to do it. So the alternative was we gave them 4 or 5 waypoints from areas off of Key Biscayne in areas that we thought would be productive, and they considered them, and they didn't allow any of them because they were too close to structure that they didn't want to disturb. but they gave us a location, and it's this 300 by 300 foot box that's in 22 feet of water just northeast of Cape Florida Lighthouse. And so we weren't sure whether this project would take off. And so we gave a budget to them of $50,000. In fact, we had like around 75, I think, in the account at the time, maybe even 80 that was left over from the Ben Range cause. But we gave a $50,000 budget. And they went ahead and they found some people to donate concrete materials. And we got it put out there. And on the same day, because they had divers filming the work, on the same day that the material went down, there were already cigar minnows showing up and swimming around the material. And when they came out and completed the project, probably within a month, the location was teeming with bait fish. And so that's been over a year. That's been there. And I was out yesterday, and there's a lot of guys that are hitting the spot, and it's producing bait for them. And it's been an important supplement to what we lost with the bug light.
Awesome.
Bug light light.
Awesome. I think it was awesome how you were able to get, I saw some of the pictures, these huge boulders. I don't even know where they came from. And then all of this, like concrete pipes, some of these big concrete pipes that you see, all of this kind of stuff, you were able to organize, getting that stuff together, moving it from one, and this stuff isn't light, my gosh, and I don't even know what kind of trucks it took to do that, but there was some seriously big stuff that was moved from one place to another, and eventually out there to make this reef, and now we have an artificial reef that is producing a lot of bait fish, and that would not have happened without the help of someone like Bruce, who actually took it upon himself to see to it that what the government literally had destroyed, basically, the people took back in their hands and rebuilt. And I think we probably did a better job than it was originally.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I appreciate the comments, but this really, as is all of these efforts, I always thought the word activist was a bad word because I don't know. I've always equated activists to people that are off the edge or off the reservation and pushing ideas that make no sense. But I guess what I have done is it falls within the definition of the word activism, and I'm okay with it because it's an issue about fishing. It's an issue about conservation. Two issues that I feel strongly about, but it's not just me. I'm happy to open up Facebook pages and get a message out, but none of these causes work unless members of the fishing community get involved. I'm happy to spend the time and talk to government officials and send the emails and if necessary, send threatening emails to get people's attention, but unless people get involved, unless the same people that enjoy the resources like I do get involved, these things don't get accomplished. And what you mentioned about the boulders and everything else, there's a part 2 that's coming now to this project. And last year, we got a lot of people involved to get, Roy Merritt being one of them. He was redoing his house up there, and I got word that he had some boulders that he was going to throw out. We're like, no, we need them because this bug light reef that we have right now, it's the material that is there is literally probably 20% of the allowable space. We have like this 300 by 300 foot box that we've been permitted to use. And the materials that we presently have there, maybe 30%, if most, of this box. So we have this phase 2 coming up where we have already obtained donated material that's sitting at the Durham spot on the Miami River that we're going to go through the bidding process and get more material out there, not to pile on to the existing material, but to put little rubble piles, maybe 3 or 4, in addition to the one that's there now, to try and get additional bait fish to go to these additional piles, where if one person shows up to bait fish, they're not all bumping into each other like they did at Bug Light, because it was only like an 8-yard area or zone that you had to work with to catch bait. We're going to try and make this little spots in that sand of 300 by 300 foot area to increase the fish population, and then make it easier for other boats to get in there and throw a chum bag and get some bait.
And everybody wins. This is what I like. Everybody wins. This is the kind of thing that I love to promote because I'm part of everybody. So it's kind of selfish, kind of selfish in a way. Wow. Well, I can't thank you enough, my friend. I am so grateful for people like you, and you have stepped up again to the plate and made a better change. Anybody can make a change. Can we make a positive change? That's the difference. And you indeed have done that, and I'm grateful for that. Let me let Carolyn say goodbye to you, and we're gonna welcome our next guest. Thank you so much, Bruce. I greatly appreciate it. Are you gonna do any fishing today?
I think I'm going to go down and clean the boat. Yesterday was great. I'm exhausted. I'm finding with each day I get older, my desire to do a back-to-back fishing trip gets less and less.
Welcome to my world. Your mind says, yeah, you can do it, and your body says, you just try that, pal. See what happens.
Especially my lower back, pulling in and taking out the chute 10 times yesterday.
Oh my gosh!
It's telling me I may want to clean instead.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, I wish you well, my friend. God bless you. I wish you an awesome day. Let me let Carolyn say goodbye to you, and we'll go on to the next guest. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Absolutely, Bruce. Thank you for making such an inspirational change in your spare time, I might add, to all of these wonderful things that you do, the venues that you're doing in Tight Lines, and hope to see you soon.
All right, my friend. God bless you. Wish you an awesome day.
GPS issue.
All right. Thank you. Okay, people, that is, his name is Bruce Marx, and there's a couple of different places you can find him. I think the easiest one is South Florida. Oh, I can't think of it now. My mind just went to a blank. South Florida theft.
Florida boat security, yeah.
South Florida theft. South Florida, stop the South Florida theft of, I think is what it is. Again, activists say he doesn't like the word activist, but he really is. That's what he is, and in a positive way. Because people can make a change. Anybody can make a change, but to make a positive change, that's the real deal. And when you have somebody like this who goes out of their way to between the issues of the electronic equipment being stolen, he made it. My gosh. My whole argument with that is, and Carolyn, you can probably relate to this too because you're involved in the electronics industry. My whole argument with what they were saying to these people was, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. I kept saying that's nonsense. That's just not true. They can easily add a password. That would be the lowest of the hanging fruit, if you will. That would be the easiest of everything to do is to add a passcode. More than likely with what's called a firmware upgrade on existing equipment, just something that I don't know how they would. I don't know anything about the equipment, but I know generally speaking with circuits, if they did an upgrade, a firmware upgrade, it would incorporate different things, and the incorporation would be a passcode. Well, he's within 2 years he's got them to agree to putting a passcode in. I believe that they really didn't want to do anything because look at it this way. You're somebody who sells whatever it is that you sell, and that happens to be a high demand item in the black market as well. Why would you want to do anything to slow the sales down? That's really, I mean, that's the seriousness of it. That's the reality of it. You're a manufacturer, you make widgets, and there's a black market for widgets. Why would you want to do anything to suppress that or slow that market? Because as long as that black market goes on, there's a high demand for your product. And if there's a high demand for your product, that means that you can get maximum dollar for your product. So it really was.
Absolutely no doubt. Absolutely no doubt. It's a bottom line issue. And, when you put in those insurance claims like Bruce did, and now, it's easy picking money. You get that check, you go buy new electronics. And, look, every phone, even throwaway disposable phone has passcode capabilities. And, like Bruce mentioned, I wanted to help, even though it might take away some of my future sales. It was more important to help and get on the bandwagon with him. Quite amazing man. And unfortunately, GPS thefts are going on now. People are going via kayaks to people's backyards, and doubling up his efforts with one of our boat alarms is, a way to at least be notified or scare somebody off a boat and be a deterrent, a starting deterrent.
I thought it was really silly that people who sell tracking equipment would not put something within their equipment to track the equipment itself. That just doesn't make sense to me. I also wrote a letter for Bruce to these manufacturers because I felt it was extremely important that they get the message that people are waking up. Here's how I look at this. You have whatever it is that you have, it gets stolen, and you are wise enough to insure it. Okay, so you get reimbursed from the insurance company. From my experience, if whatever it was that you had cost you $100, the insurance company's not going to pay $100 for it. You're lucky if you get $70 for it. So you lose there. And then what happens as this continues and grows exponentially, the insurance rates go up. So not only now have you been ripped off for your equipment, and you don't even get what the equipment is, the full dollar amount back, I think, in most cases, now you're having to pay more for insurance. So you lose all the way around. And then we look at something like what Bruce does and almost brings it to a halt, which I thought was absolutely amazing. And brings these things to a halt. What happens? Well, now the insurance company doesn't have any excuses to raise your insurance rates. You still keep the odds of you keeping your equipment go way up because now there's a theft deterrent built into the product that wasn't there before. And everybody, again, it's everybody wins kind of situation. Those are the things that I love to promote. The things that I truly enjoy about Atlas Trax. One of my favorite things is this little thing you can slip in your pocket, okay? It's about the size of a credit card, but it's not as thin as a credit card. But it's so small you could slip it into your pocket. God forbid you go out on a boat on one of those days that we had those storms come through, and something happens. You can be easily found very quickly. You could be the needle in the haystack, and this thing can act like a magnet, like a huge magnet, literally suck you up out of that haystack. Never even have to go through the trouble of separating everything because you stand out like a sore thumb. Those are the kind of things that I like to promote because everybody wins. One of the things that you have, Carolyn, is an alarm, that's not fair. You have an alarm system. It's kind of different than everybody else's, but tell the people about the alarm system that you have.
So our alarm system, we developed it from anything from boats to even just trailers, scaled down version of like a trailer in your yard. But basically the boat alarm has door sensors similar to a house alarm. It has snap sensors. So let's say somebody wants to take off a canvas cover over your electronics. It'll set off a siren if someone just pulls the snap off. It also has a 60-foot, very thin micro cable, which is thinner than your computer cable. So you can wrap that through your lower units of your engine. You can wrap it around a dock piling. You can tether it to another boat if you're traveling together. Some folks will even just stop at a restaurant. Instead of putting all their fishing rods away, we'll just put this little cable right through all the fishing rods. So if somebody opens any of those things, pulls the snap off, opens the door, or unhooks the cable, it sets off an alarm. And if somebody's lucky enough to have a tracker, then the tracker will also be smart enough to send a text or an email saying that somebody has been on the boat. So you've got double protection there, and that's all less than $1,000.
That's
so,
amazing.
you look at buying new equipment for $15,000 or an alarm that's going to keep your boat safe. It's really affordable. If someone wants a scaled down version for just a trailer or of ATVs, we can do it as low as $250. A siren, a power box, and a couple sensors, and someone's protected for someone, stealing out of your driveway. So it just makes so much sense.
The lower unit thing, I don't know if it's still happening, but because I followed a lot of the different pages that were here in South Florida regarding the boat thefts and the equipment thefts and so on, and the lower unit thefts were really out of hand for quite a while there. I remember seeing a boat that had 3 beautiful engines on the back of this boat. No props. The whole bottom unit, all 3 of them gone. If you had something like what Carolyn's talking about, you at least would have been notified, at the very minimum notified. More than likely you'd have been able to stop it because this all has to happen very quickly. They've got to get in, they've got to get out. Anything you can do to deter that, to increase the time that they're there, brings up the odds of them being caught so they don't stick around. They want to be able to get in, they want to be able to get out. And the last thing they want is to have some loud thing going off while they're trying to do their business, because that's like a spotlight on them, and that's the last thing that they need. So this is the kind of thing that I like to to express to people and bring it to their attention. We have different ways that you can help protect your equipment, whatever that, we're talking about boats right now, but there's, whatever that equipment might be. It might be a motorcycle. It might be a jet ski. It might be an iceberg. I love the iceberg one. Oh, I just love the iceberg.
I mean, we're excited about that iceberg, and I'll post up a map on the Facebook page for the radio show so people can see what that looks like. But I had a customer call me from Louisiana. They had a trailer of 4 ATVs stolen recently. Nothing recovered. So that's a big loss, and they ended up getting one of the trackers that you mentioned, the little guys that are credit card size. Put that right back on the brand new Can-Am side by side, and they're going to put that thing through mud. And because it's waterproof, it's perfect. It'll stay there. It'll run off batteries, and they'll know when to change the batteries. But that's an expensive theft. If you've got your gear all ready to go on all you're waiting for is to hook it up to a truck and go, and it's gone in the morning.
Yeah,
it's pretty disheartening.
It is. I've had that feeling. It's not a good feeling. You don't want. The thing that I really enjoy about what you have to offer is peace of mind. You're one of those people who can offer peace. How do you? What kind of price do you put on that? And what's it worth for peace of mind? I go back to that car that I had for that brief period of time. 3 times this thing was stolen in a year. 2 times literally out of my front yard. They came into my yard, and I had a fence. They opened the fence up. They came into my yard, took the car, and took off. 3 times. 2 times right out of the front, right out of my driveway. It is the feeling is just a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach, and I don't really. I would do whatever I could possibly to avoid that. And this is one of the ways that you can avoid that.
There's some other great things about the tracker, and I'm a small business, and I like doing concierge service. We've talked about that. We do a free hurricane stock plan. What that means is any named storms for any of our customers, if they call us and tell us where their boat will be or if they plan on moving their boat, we'll also live monitor that and notify them if their boat's moved from where they told us it's supposed to be, whether it's floating away from a dock or stolen out of a yard, or who knows if they have to evacuate and they're afraid to leave their boat. We do free monitored float plans. If someone calls and says, I'm going to the Bahamas tomorrow at 5 o'clock, we add ourselves to their account so we can watch them get all the way to the Bahamas, and then we watch them on the way back. So while people are used to doing float plans with the Coast Guard, I can't tell you how many times I've done that, and no one paid any attention to if I was home or not. So we actually will monitor people doing these Gulf Stream crossings.
And again, this is peace of mind. What is that worth? I don't think I could put a price on that. I really don't. All right. Well, you know what? I think we have the Florida Salty Cowgirl on the line with us. Let me just check here. Is that you, girl?
It is absolutely me. I'm just sitting here listening.
Yay! Well, welcome.
Hi, Angelia.
Hi. How are you?
Good. I want to hear all about what's going on down there. It's a beautiful day here in Deerfield. So tell us what's going on.
We'll spend a couple extra minutes with her now.
The weather down here is just absolutely beautiful. I'm thrilled to death to know that the Skipper's Mahi tournament went off without a hitch this weekend.
Yay!
I spent all day long yesterday out there. The weeds are so scattered and so messy that it's almost impossible to troll. And everybody knows how much I love to get my troll on. But we did go out to the Isla Morada hump yesterday and did a little bit of jigging, which I absolutely love as well, and came up with some really nice tuna, a nice 15-pounder, and so didn't score in the mahi. And then I'm heading out again today, and we're going to hit the reef. And while grouper is still in season, I'm going to see if I can get us a grouper for tonight.
Oh wow! So
but the weather's gorgeous. The roadblock came to. Is today the 1st?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the 1st. The roadblock comes down from the Keys tomorrow, and we're starting to see life down here resume to normal.
Finally.
It's really nice to see. I mean,
Finally.
nice to feel. I couldn't be happier about that. And I do have some news I would like to share as well.
Sure.
This year has just been, I don't even know how to word this, but this year has been kind of strange, as everybody knows. And, of course, in the last 24 hours, it's got even stranger. But, I tried not to make any solid plans because I didn't know how the year was going to go. And there was talks of all different types of things going on. But It is absolutely in stone, and I have my ticket, and I'm heading to Alaska in just a couple weeks.
Oh my gosh, you're going back to? Didn't they make a? Wasn't there a song about that? Back to Alaska, something like that.
Well, I really, really, really enjoyed it last summer. There's really nothing that can beat it, and the yacht experience was wonderful for me. But I got that opportunity to go up into Ninilchik, into the Kenai Peninsula, and spend some time doing some halibut charters. And it made me realize very, very quickly that I am not a yacht captain. I am definitely a fishing captain. So the gentleman that had us working up there doing the halibut charters in the Kenai Peninsula has been in contact, ever since. And going back up there to work for him. We'll be in Seward, Alaska this time, which I'm excited because that's a new city for us. And we'll have a 43-foot Delta headboat that will be running halibut, salmon, and rockfish charters out of. Wow. And anybody who wants the trip of a lifetime and wants to go to Alaska, I'd love to see you up there. We'll be working for Ninilchik Charters, and should be a really good time. I'm excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's kind of interesting timing because, like I said, with everything going on in the world and what's erupted in the last few days, I'm really happy to go from the Florida Keys back up to Alaska. Stay away from everything as much as I can and stay on the water and keep fishing and keep my happy existence.
There were some amazing things that you not only pictures that you posted, but some things that you told me about. One of them that I found absolutely astonishing was the tide. It was like a 30-foot tide or something.
I actually have been making jokes about that recently. I said, oh, goodness, back to staying up all night long watching tide charts and figuring out the tides. And, yes, up there, the more north you go, the more severe the tides get. So when I started up in Alaska, I was in southern Alaska, and we had 20-some-foot tides, and that was very shocking to me. And the more north you go, and the more of the polar caps cool that you get less sunlight, you get bigger tides. So where we'll be going this summer, we'll be up in the Kenai Peninsula, up in Stewart, and it's amazing. If you look at it, there's nothing but ice fjords and ice fields all over, and it's just amazing. I'll have to do some venturing out on top of fishing.
Oh, I know you. Yep.
But it's just an experience beyond words. I'm so excited I can't take it.
So
from everything I told you last summer and all the pictures I posted, it didn't even scratch the surface. One day I'm just going to have to inundate social media with all the pictures because it's insane.
Well, is the place that you're going suffer, I don't know if that's the right word, experience these drastic tides?
Oh, okay. I got a little off subject. Where we're going is even more north. So we're looking at like 34-foot tides.
Holy smokes.
And up there they have what they call negative tides and positive tides. So let's say you have a 30-foot tide, but your low tide is actually like a -4, which means that day you got a 34-foot tide. And up there they have a weird little thinking also about the tides. They say that you can't catch big fish on the low tide. And we caught some of our biggest fish on the low tide. But it's very difficult because it's all bottom fishing up there. And it's very difficult to get your line to the bottom in a couple hundred feet of water when you've got a 34-foot tide every 6 hours that's screaming out. And last summer, we were actually fishing the tides. So instead of like a charter boat that has a set schedule every day and, leaves at this time and comes in at this time, last year we actually had to fish the tides. So one day your trip would leave at 6 a.m. and the next day your trip would leave at 9 a.m. You had to fish the tides because if you don't hit that ebb tide, that slack tide, it's very difficult to fish. Now, this year is going to be completely different. It's going to be a completely new animal because the boat runs from 6:30 a.m. and does an 8 to 10 hour trip every day. And it's a new body of water for me as well. So I need to learn that body of water in a big way. And a new boat, new body of water, new city. But with this not going out fishing the tides and targeting that slack tide, it's going to be very interesting. And I even know that we have a 3-day long-range trip that's already booked. So we'll have 4 gentlemen on a 43-foot boat, and we will leave the dock, and we won't come back for 3 days.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so it's really exciting stuff. I'm going to get a whole new education again. Like I said, new waters, new boat. And, I'm just super, super excited.
Now, did you say, are you going to be halibut fishing again?
Halibut, salmon, and rockfish will be fishing for. And I do believe because the first half of the season did not go off because of the whole coronavirus and everything going on and the quarantines, the limits up in Alaska are very, very, very strict and very, very monitored. But this year the limits are like way more liberal than they were last year because the first half of the season they didn't get to fish. So now instead of being able to keep 2 halibut all season on these 3-day trips, these guys can keep 2 halibut every single day. So we should come in with massive amount of fish.
Holy smokes. I think of the pictures that you posted last year of the halibut, and they were as big as you are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. We had to, 2 of us had to, we had a harpoon in one of them in the gill, and I got the tail with a gaff. And it took 2 of us to lift that thing over the side and get it into the boat.
It's huge.
But I tell you what, I was so hell-bent on getting that thing into the boat, I would have snaked it over anything to get it into that boat, okay? That fish was coming back if I had to drag it behind the boat.
Oh,
but yeah, it's pretty amazing. The fish up there, I always tease that everything in Alaska is bigger, you know? I mean, the mountains are bigger, the sceneries are bigger, the water is bigger, the fish are bigger. And then when you see whales and orcas, then you know.
Oh my gosh!
Bigger, you know?
No.
And,
Yeah.
But yeah, the halibut are just insane. And where we're fishing this year, they should be even bigger and even more plentiful. At least I've got my fingers crossed.
Wow.
So yeah, it'll be an interesting few months. Actually, we're heading out on June 17th, so we've only got about 2.5 weeks before departure.
Wow. So.
Yeah. So
Go ahead, Carolyn.
It sort of came together like really quickly because I've been communicating with this gentleman that we worked for last summer, and I've been communicating with him for many months. And the weirdest thing, about a week ago, I get a text that says, "Can you be here ready to work on the 20th of June?" So I was like, heck yes.
Wow.
And I didn't want to say anything until tickets were purchased, and it was a definite sure thing. Well, it's a definite sure thing, guys. But, I'm really, really excited. I was really hoping that would come through this summer. It was such an amazing experience that so few people get to have, and I feel extremely blessed that I get to go back. And, just an amazing experience. What a great resume builder, huh?
You're kidding. Go ahead, Carolyn.
I have a question. When you go out on a 3-day trip and you're allowed to take more halibut, how do you break that down and preserve it in a 43-foot boat?
Okay, you're not going to believe this, guys, but last summer when I got up to Alaska and I first started fishing, there's no ice in Alaska as far as like at the convenience stores or if you can find a convenience store. But, you know, like here, our biggest concern before we leave out is make sure we have enough ice, right?
Yep.
Well, they put holes in the bottom of the boat in the hull, and they'll put, however many inches of water is appropriate. And the water up there is 50 degrees or less, okay? The more north you go, the colder the water gets. But I was just shocked when I got up there and started fishing that nobody ices the fish down. I mean, they just don't use ice up there. And when you catch fish, you have a door right in the floor of the back deck, and you literally just drop those fish into the hold that's got water in it, which is water from the body of water you're fishing in. So it should be 50 degrees or less. And believe it or not, they stay perfectly fine like that for 3 days. So you're not going to believe it, but they do. The weather is a little bit more cold and more inclement where we're going. The highs seem to be in the 50s. The lows seem to be in the low 40s. So it's going to be chilly and it's going to be a little wet, and that's okay. It's worth the experience. But yeah, it's just the weirdest thing. No ice up there. And I was really, really, really shocked by that. But the fish stayed just fine, just fresh. That water is so cold and the temperature is pretty cold, and they don't have a problem staying fresh at all. I don't get it. Don't ask me, but it was the strangest thing to me to be able to go fishing with no ice up there. It's just the weirdest, strangest thing. So you tell me, Carolyn. I'm not sure, but they do not use ice on their fishing boats.
That's crazy.
I was more worried about a cocktail. As a matter of fact, just now.
Oh, now see, there's going to be a nice little galley on my boat with a refrigerator, so no problem there. Yeah, we'll be whipping up meals for the guys in 3 days, you know?
So, Angelia, when you're up there, what do you plan on? I don't mean I'm asking an honest question. What are you going to be wearing? Wet and cold? What kind of clothes do you wear when something?
If you guys saw my pictures last year, I hardly came out of layered shirts, jeans, knee-high rubber boots. Got to have a jacket, a rainproof jacket. You got to have foul weather gear. And because the weather's a little bit more severe where we're going this year, I had a pair of bibs. Everybody knows what bibs are, right? Like your Grunbins. But I bought cheap ones last year. And if you get wet when it's cold up there, you are absolutely miserable.
Oh.
So you need waterproof bibs. You need a waterproof jacket with a hood. You need knee-high rubber boots at all times. In fact, they actually call the knee-high extra tough boots, they call them Alaska sneakers.
That's funny.
Wearing them. I mean, everybody.
That is funny.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
my
call
God.
them Alaska sneakers. Go get your Alaska sneakers. So, but yeah, you have to be able to stay dry and warm. We were joking about that yesterday, and I said the moment you get wet up there, you cannot get warm. And the biggest challenge I had last year when I was on the yacht, actually, and I would wash one side of the yacht every night when we came in, whichever side we docked on. And when I would raise the even with bibs on and boots on and everything, if I raised the hose over my head to spray something down, it would run down my arm and get inside of my bibs, and then I was freezing. Yes, I was like, no raising my head or the hose over my head and let the water run down my arm. It gets inside your bibs and your clothes get wet. And once you get wet, you are absolutely miserable. So before you head out on this 3-day trip, you better make sure you get all your clothes you need, all your foul weather gear you need, and you got to stay dry. Cold is one thing. Wet and cold is a whole another animal.
Oh my gosh, I don't like being wet. And, now you can imagine here in South Florida, go out in anywhere out on a boat, and get yourself wet on a hot day, on a hot sweaty day. Get yourself wet and go take off in a boat and see how you're freezing your behind off in a heartbeat. Okay, so
I was joking all day long yesterday because we were out on the water all day, just fishing and goofing and playing and trying different things. But it was just blazing hot yesterday. It's going to be blazing hot again today. By the way, I'm getting on the boat. As soon as I get off the phone with you, I'm getting on the boat, going back out and trying to catch a grouper today. But it was so hot. I'm in a bikini, and I'm taking the saltwater wash on the boat, and I'm spraying it over my head, and I'm laying out in the sun baking, and I'm laughing, saying, in 2.5 weeks, we're going to be in 50-degree weather, and we're going to have 16 layers on,
Yeah. If you were to do that in 2.5 weeks, you'd turn into a solid block of ice.
I made jokes all last summer with all the people in Alaska. I said, I can't believe I have to go back to Florida in the winter to get heat.
Oh my gosh. So you mentioned the grouper fishing thing. I wanted to ask you real quickly, when you're out there grouper fishing, I take it you're going to be jigging, right? You're going to be pulling up and down?
No, I'm not much. If I jig offshore for tuna or amberjack. When I bottom fish, I don't jig. And I use like a traditional bottom rig. Keep in mind, I cut my teeth fishing on a head boat.
Mm-hmm.
So I use kind of a traditional bottom rig. I like an 8-ounce lead sinker with double swivel, which is very, very difficult to find these days. I have a few, and I hang on to them like they're gold. But, and then I do maybe a 3 or 4 foot leader beyond that. And when I started grouper fishing, I was grouper fishing in the Gulf of Mexico, like off of Central Florida, like off of Clearwater Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And you could use chopped up threadfin herring or any type of chopped up bait, or even squid, and you could get grouper to bite on it all day long. When I first came down here to the Keys permanently to stay, I was hell-bent on getting out to the reef and catching some grouper, and nothing I was doing was working, and everybody told me, you really have to have live pilchards down here in the Keys to catch grouper. And, of course, stubborn little me wanted to use my same old ways, and when I finally broke down and said, okay, I'm going to use some live pilchards, all of a sudden then I started slamming the grouper down here.
Wow.
So it's a little bit different. I'll use a traditional bottom rig. Like I said, it's about an 8-ounce sinker, a 3 or 4 foot leader beyond that. And then I hook a live pilchard onto there, and usually that'll get you a really good grouper bite down here on the reef.
Wow.
I also chum the heck out of the water, so that makes a big difference as well. But yeah, we we have a good time. One of us will be fishing off the back, yellowtailing. One of us will be bottom fishing, which is usually me, and then we'll throw out a couple of flat lines with like a live pinfish or something on it too, and once in a while we'll get a kingfish or something fun running on that.
Wow.
So bottom fishing around Florida is a little bit different in every different area you get to, but yeah, I don't jig at all. I get let that weight hit the bottom, give it a crank or two to get that weight about 6 inches off the bottom, and then I let that little live pilchard just swim around and attract the grouper. So I don't really jig at all when I bottom fish. Mm-mm. And then jigging offshore, yesterday I tired myself right out jigging offshore. That's a different animal when you're in 300 foot of water and you actually have to get the lure at 300 foot depth to do the right action to get the right bite. And there's kind of a little art to it. And luckily I've got a little style of my own that works. But yeah, jigging, I hadn't gone jigging offshore in a while. So yesterday out of the hump was quite fun to me. If the water's cooperative and the seas are cooperative, which they should be today, we might head out there again and do a little jigging just because it's so much fun. It's a lot of work, but it is so much fun.
Wow.
But yeah, I think I'm on the hunt for a grouper today for dinner.
Hot dog. Well, I wish you tight lines, my dear.
What depth are you going to be in, Angelia, today?
You know, we have a couple spots up on the reef that are anywhere between like 30 and 50 feet that are pretty golden. I mean, they're really nice. And even like I was working on one of the head boats for a while, and we stayed all around Alligator Reef. That's when you and I were talking about it so much, Ruscala. And I mean, we'd go anywhere from 50-foot depth to 180-foot depth. So of course, I like it a little more shallower. I like it 50 or 60 feet. And like I said, we've got some really nice spots on the reef up around Conch Reef, and they're pretty golden. I mean, as long as you've got structure on the bottom, you should be pretty good. But yeah, Carolyn, it goes anywhere from, you can grouper fish anywhere from 30 to, 200 feet. It just gets a little more difficult the deeper that you get into,
Yo, absolutely. I'm off the dock too as soon as you are, and I'm my little hydro sport, and we're going to get a couple dozen pilchards and go maybe 60 feet to 85 feet and look for a few grouper and a few yellowtails as well for dinner. So I'll be right at you thinking about you.
We have the exact same plan in the exact same boat, Carolyn.
Ooh, great minds. Great minds.
Come fish with us anytime you're in Deerfield.
Great minds.
Hey, and ditto.
Oh,
yeah,
my
ditto.
goodness. Well, guys, this is what happens when we're having a good time. We're all out. So before I go, I know you're going to be leaving in a couple of weeks there, Angelia. Are you going to be taking any trips? Taking anybody out?
I have nothing booked until we leave because the corona sort of had everything, on hold. And but we will be booking charters for when we return in mid-September. And anybody who's looking for a really exciting Alaskan adventure fishing, please contact Ninilchik Charters. I'm going to put a post up on my social media because it's kind of difficult to pronounce and spell. But ninilchikcharters.com up in the Kenai Peninsula. If you'd like to book a fantastic trip, definitely get in touch with them. And then we'll be booking charters for when we return in mid-September. So very exciting stuff.
Well, I wish you the best. At least I'm going to have you for a couple of weeks, right, before you go?
Well, and I'm certainly hoping that you will allow me, when time permits for me up there, to give you an update on how it's going. So
Absolutely. All right. I want to wish you an awesome day. Let me let Carolyn say goodbye to you, and we're out of here. Thank you, everybody, for taking time to listen in. We'll be back in a week. Go ahead, Carolyn.
I'll send you some pictures and send me some also. Good luck.
You got it, girl.
All right, my friends. Thank you so much. We're off. We'll be back in a week. God bless. Be safe.